And we are live. Hey, how's it going? Happy Black Friday to you. Lee Hayward here with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding live video chat for Black Friday, November 29th. Hopefully you're having a good one. Hopefully for those of you in the United States that you had a great Thanksgiving Day holiday and you're ready to get back on track again today. And I actually made a video post about that and then shared it to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding community on Facebook about how you need to be able to start again, right? After you have that big Thanksgiving Day dinner, indulging in all the, the holiday goodies, the turkey and the mashed potatoes and the gravy and the pumpkin pie and whatever fixings that you have along with it. You got to be able to say, you know what, enjoy that. And then right after that, forgive, correct, continue, and start again for your very next meal, or at the very least, the very next day. So here we are now, the day after Thanksgiving. Should be able to jump back in and actually utilize that holiday indulgence, that nice, big, hearty meal that you had, and use it to fuel a good kick-ass workout today. So if you've done that, let me know in the chat window if you had yourself a good kick-ass workout today. And if not, hopefully you'll get one in later on, or at least the very next day, because once you've filled up and topped up those glycogen stores with ample food, you can certainly get in a good workout and have some killer pumps the next day. All right, so let's get this show underway. I see live people popping onto our live stream there now. As you're tuning in, please chime in. First off, let me know if this is coming through loud and clear. I hope it is. I hope I'm not just talking to dead air out there. So if this is coming through loud and clear, type into our chat window there that it is coming through. And as you're popping onto our live stream here, introduce yourself. Let me know who's tuning in, where you're tuning in from. Always nice to know where we have people joining us from, because this is obviously an international audience joining in for these live Q&A. And we are streaming from Facebook as well as the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel. So wherever you're tuning in from, I know most people are tuning in from YouTube, which is our main platform of choice, but a lot of people do tune in from their Facebook profile as well. So we got Lee is joining in, coming through loud and clear. Appreciate that. Thanks, Lee. We have Robert joining in, said he had a full body workout this morning, and good for you. Congrats on that. Taking advantage of those holiday calories. And I'm assuming that Robert and celebrated Thanksgiving. I know obviously that's only a North American thing, and well, US Thanksgiving was yesterday. Canadian Thanksgiving was last month in October, but same holiday, just have it a month earlier. So we've already gone through this whole Thanksgiving thing a month ago. We have Corbin joining in loud and clear. Awesome. Glad to have you joining in, Corbin. And we have Rob is joining us. Welcome, Rob. Glad to have you joining in as well. All right. See more people popping onto the live stream here now. So the way this works, and of course, the regulars, you all know how this works. But for those of you who are brand new to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chat, I want to welcome you. This is something that I do pretty much every Friday with very few exceptions. And it's an opportunity to just have a chat and discuss fitness and nutrition. So if there's anything that you would like help with, or any questions or topics of discussion that you would like to have covered, please feel free to type those into our chat window there. And if you're on YouTube, obviously there's a chat window to the side of the video. If you're on Facebook, then there's the comment section down below the video. Type in your questions and topics of discussion there. Anything fitness and nutrition related. So if you have questions about your workouts, questions about your eating, your nutrition, supplementation, any challenges when it comes to building muscle, losing fat, working around aches and pains and injuries, feel free to type in those questions and topics of discussion into the questions or comment section there, and I'll do the best I can to help you out over the course of our video chat today. And I just want to give you a heads up that this is Black Friday, and I know several people are probably anticipating our Black Friday Muscle After 40 promo, and this is something that I've been running pretty much every year since we've launched since we launched the Muscle After 40 program. And it's a great opportunity to come on board and get some awesome deals. Basically, you'll get better deals now this weekend than you will any other time of the year. First off, we're offering the rest of the month free coaching for the rest of the year, so you can go all through the holiday season. And we actually have a special bonus where you're going to be able to follow along with our holiday survival guide and actually lose up to 5 pounds between now and Christmas while you're going through the holiday season, and still do so while enjoying those holiday meals. And I actually outlined how that action plan works in the Lean Body Re-comp Masterclass that we had earlier this week. We had it on Wednesday night, and I know a lot of people tuned into that. If you didn't have a chance to tune into our Lean Body Re-comp Masterclass, the link to it is down in the description below this video. You can pop that open because I was able to save the replay, and it's online there now. So you can still access the replay of that masterclass. And we went into a lot of detail covering a step-by-step action plan on how you can actually survive the holidays without setting yourself back and while still enjoying those holiday meals with your friends and your family. So it's a fine line, but we laid out a specific strategy and action plan on how you can do that, how you can literally have your cake and eat it too. And if you would like help with implementing that action plan, then that's part of our whole Muscle After 40 program. We have a bonus coaching section now for the month of December leading into the holiday season, where we're literally going to take you step by step through that whole action plan and help you to survive the holidays while enjoying them and getting leaner in the process without setting yourself back. Because you know yourself, this time of year, most people are just going to say, you know what, screw it. Christmas is around the corner. Screw the diet. Screw that. Like, yeah, I'll start again in the new year. And what happens when people do that? Yeah, I mean, when you don't focus on improving your health and fitness, it doesn't stay the same. That's something that we need to realize. We're either moving forward or we're falling behind. There's no such thing as staying stagnant or maintaining. Maintaining is a nice thing to think about, but it doesn't actually exist in the real world. You're either making progress, either slowly making progress or aggressively making progress, or you're falling behind. Either you're slowly falling behind, or in the worst case scenario, you're aggressively falling behind. But you're moving forwards or backwards. There's no staying in the middle. So if you think that, hey, I'm just going to put my workouts on pause, I'm going to put my diet on pause, and I'll just start again in January, what you're really saying is, I'm going to get fatter over the holiday season. And then when January rolls around, I'm going to have to start again. But instead of starting where I am right now, I'm going to be 5+ pounds heavier and have to actually regain lost ground that I lost over the holidays just to get back to where I was prior to that. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to start amping things up now so that you get that momentum built over the holiday season. Even drop a few pounds of body fat between now and Christmas. So then when the new year hits, you're ahead of the curve, right? You're ahead of the game, and you can jump right in and start making new progress towards your health and fitness goals versus playing catch up and trying to get back to where you are right now. So this is a critical time. And it's all these little in the moment decisions. Like, how do you deal with these challenging times, the holiday season? And how do you deal with just regular challenging times in general? Like, hey, when you're eating out at restaurants, when you're having family dinners, when you're on vacation, or birthdays and anniversaries, and all these situations where most people just say, screw it, I'll just indulge, and diet starts on Monday or whatever. Those little in the moment decisions, we all know that they're not serving us, but they're setting you back. And that damage accumulates, right? You're either accumulating small wins or you're accumulating small losses. And those small losses, or small setbacks, we should say, they add up. And then next thing you know, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, who's that fat guy looking back at me? Like, I don't recognize him, right? This is how it happens. It just doesn't catch up to you overnight, but it accumulates, right? Year after year, decade after decade. And before you know, it's like, what the hell happened? All right. So we want to avoid that and catch yourself in the moment. And that's what we're really going to help you to do. So again, if you're interested in that and you want some help with laying out a realistic action plan, feel free to reach out to me. Again, contact information is down in the show notes below. And I also went into more detail about it during the masterclass. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, check out that masterclass replay. Again, the link to the video replay there is in the show notes below as well. All right, we got more people popping onto our live stream here, so let's jump right into this. Let's see who's joining in. Rob saying it did a full whole body Thursday morning. Good stuff. Good stuff. Prepared yourself in advance for the Thanksgiving Day feast. That works too, right? Corbin saying, I work out this morning, and after my next meal, we'll be going back to the gym to do more cardio too. Awesome. Good for you. I respect that. Right, bumping up the activity level, getting back on track. We've got Chris joining in. Welcome, Chris. We have Rob saying, your thoughts, whole body, upper focus on Thursday, lower body on Saturday, upper on Sunday, and whole body focus on lower Tuesday. My thoughts on that is what fits your schedule. The truth is, when it comes to all the different workout splits, like whether it's an upper lower body split, whether it's a total body split, whether it's a push pull leg split, whether it's a bro split, or insert training program of choice, you can make them all work. And we need to think bigger and think of the principles behind your fitness and nutrition program, and not getting just tangled up in the weeds of the tactics, because the tactics or the methods can vary. But what is the bigger principle of what we're trying to achieve? Like, we're trying to stimulate new muscle growth here. We're trying to provide unique muscle stimulation, and whatever type of stimulation it is. I mean, if you're trying to train to gain muscle, obviously you need to provide unique muscle stimulation. If you're training to improve athletic performance, then you need to focus on whatever skills that you need for that athletic performance. If you're training to improve your cardiovascular function, then you need to provide stimulus to improve that. But you need to provide ongoing stimulus in a progressive overload fashion. And there's multiple methods to going about that. And it's not that one method is right or wrong or good or bad. It really depends on the individual, where they're at in their training journey, and what fits their schedule, right? So all these days, like, if those days fit your schedule, then great, stick with it. As far as alternating between, upper and lower body prioritizing within your workouts, that's fine as well. I mean, we kind of do the same thing within our coaching program, is we customize it to the individual. And there's a lot of guys who are going through that with a similar type of approach. So bottom line, you can make it work, but you need to think bigger and think of the principles, not just the methods, because we can make the methods work, right, depending on the situation, but it's the bigger principles what you really need to focus on, providing that unique stimulation and doing so in a progressive overload fashion, and being good enough consistently over time. That's what's going to make the biggest difference, right? I mean, I would much rather see somebody be consistent and consistently good with a simple workout program than having the most complex, advanced training program that they're inconsistent with. A simple plan done consistently will dramatically outproduce an advanced, complex program that's done inconsistently, right? Consistency trumps all. All right, let's see what else we got there. We have Matthew is joining us. Welcome, Matthew. Awesome. Corbin saying, I always enjoy your videos. And when is your next bicycle ride? We're getting into the fall of the year now, so there hasn't been a lot of bike riding for me. But another reason why I haven't been doing much bike riding lately is, if you've been following along with my videos, and I had carpal tunnel surgery earlier this month. So that has kind of put cycling on the back burner, because with carpal tunnel surgery, I can't put pressure on my hand to literally hold the handlebars. So I haven't ridden my bike now in several weeks. But with that being said, I have done some indoor trainer rides, like riding on my indoor stationary bike. I've rigged it up in such a way that I can support myself on my forearms and not literally having my hands on the handlebars. So I've been able to make do and kind of keep the cardiovascular fitness going while I'm in the recovery process. But I haven't done an actual outdoor bike ride in several weeks now, since I've had the carpal tunnel surgery. But with that being said, it's coming along quite nicely. I mean, you can see there's the incision was right there. I mean, it's basically healed over, and it's just some dead skin around it there now. So the incision is healed over, and it's coming along quite nicely. I have full mobility in my fingers, and the strength is coming back. The only thing that's really painful now is my thumb is weak. So, like, when it comes to gripping, my thumb strength isn't what it was, but it's getting better each day. But the biggest nuisance now is I can't put pressure on my palm to any great degree. And that's what would hurt. So if I was riding a bicycle and having my hands on the handlebars and the vibrations, that would cause a lot of pain throughout the palm of my hand there. So that needs to still heal up on the inside. Like, the surface skin is basically healed over, but where they cut that tendon inside, that's still still sensitive, right? So when I'm in the gym, like I haven't been able to do any pressing exercises, like a bench press or anything like that, where I'd have a barbell across that incision area. So I'm gradually building myself back up to that. And it is getting noticeably better each day. I can notice, progression, but it's going to be a few months before it's back to normal. All right, who else we have joining in? We have Mark joining in. Says, sorry, I missed last night. I guess you mean the masterclass that we had Wednesday night. But if you missed that masterclass, you can catch the replay. And I mentioned that earlier. It's down posted in the description below this video, if you want to check that out. Let's see what else we got there. We have Matthew saying, I'm currently doing a full body routine 3 to 4 times a week. It's feeling good, but I'm thinking of eventually switching to an upper lower 4-day a week, 1 upper, 2 lower, 3 upper. Okay, so day 1 upper, day 2 lower, 3 upper. Sure. And that's the way you would do it. I mean, literally just alternate them, upper lower body 4 days a week. That's fine. I mean, I've done similar programs like that in the past. The only thing that I would caution you on there is listen to your body and adapt accordingly, because very often, depending on what it is that you're doing, the lower body workouts may be more stressful and taxing than the upper body. And sometimes the lower body may actually need more recovery than the upper body. Like exercises like squats and deadlifts and those muscles and those exercises need more recovery time than something like bicep curls and tricep extensions. So just factor that in. You can have that split in mind, but as you're going through it, you may need to adjust the recovery or adjust the intensity in that. So for example, I give you when I was sometimes doing those workouts like that, I probably have big compound exercises like squats and deadlifts programmed in there. But I found as I was getting stronger with those exercises, sometimes I needed to space them out more to get adequate recovery, especially as you're getting stronger and you're able to generate more force and thus more stress and damage on the body. Sometimes you need to adjust your recovery accordingly. So maybe like one of those lower body workouts will just be isolation exercises like leg extensions and leg curls and calf work and maybe inner and outer thigh and some lighter exercises. And then another one of those lower body workouts might be the big heavy compound moves, your squats and lunges and whatever, leg presses and the big heavy moves. That's something you might want to consider. Now, I'm not trying to pre-plan this into your program in advance, but just put that in the back of your mind and realize that as you progress with that, you may find that your upper body is recovering faster than the lower body, and you may need to just modify things accordingly to prevent overtraining and to prevent repetitive use movement injuries, because that's another thing to consider as well. But again, if you want some help with that as you're going through it, feel free to reach out to me or message me through the Total Fitness Bodybuilding Facebook group. We can chat about it through there as well. Who else is joining in? We have Thomas. Welcome, Thomas. Says, Lee, who do you think is stronger, Dorian Yates or Ronnie Coleman? Ronnie lifts heavier weight, but Dorian uses much better form. He uses strict formula. Right now, I know you're referring to the guys in their peak, because these guys are, by bodybuilding standards, old men, and they've been through the meat grinder and they've had their share of injuries and stuff. I mean, poor old Ronnie's had numerous back surgeries and is walking with crutches. Dorian just recently had a hip replacement, and so they've got the wear and tear on the body for sure. So we're talking about who was stronger, back in the heyday. Honestly, I think Ronnie Coleman was, like, Ronnie at his peak, I think, had more muscle, more size, and I would argue more strength than Dorian at his peak. Now, that's not to be discrediting Dorian. I mean, I'm a huge Dorian Yates fan. I mean, when I was starting bodybuilding back when I was a teenager in high school and I did my first competition back in 1995, he was the reigning Mr. Olympia. I mean, so I was a huge fan of Dorian's. remember I even have a copy of his old Blood and Guts workout program on VHS tape, right? Dating myself, not streaming video, not even DVD, but on VHS, right? So we're going back in the day here. But yeah, I was a massive fan of Dorian and really took a lot from his, inspired by his training philosophy and everything else, and just the results he achieved. But if I had to say my opinion, who I think was the better bodybuilder at their absolute peak, I would say Ronnie would probably edge out Dorian. Now, early on, it was the other way around because Dorian has beaten Ronnie in competition when Ronnie was on the rise. Dorian was basically at the top of the hill and had his peak, and Ronnie was up and coming through the Olympia ranks then. But I think at his ultimate peak, Ronnie was just a beast. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen the videos. I mean, him doing 800-pound squats and 800-pound deadlifts, and I mean, that's impressive. I mean, that's world-class numbers by anybody's standards. I don't think Dorian has ever moved those kinds of numbers. But again, both of these guys are like the top 1% of the top 1%, the elite of the elite of bodybuilders, so it's easy for us to sit back here and give my armchair theories of who was the best or whatever, but kudos to both of them. What else we got there? Matthew's got another question. Say, any thoughts on these new so-called weight loss miracle drugs? I'm hearing that for some people, they're just genetically predisposed to gaining weight with a chemical imbalance in the brain. I disagree. I'm assuming you didn't mention any names here, but I'm thinking you must mean like Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, and all these semi-glutide medications, right? I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. And I made a video about that a while back and posted up on the YouTube channel, but I'll just briefly touch on it here. Personally, I'm not a fan of that approach, those medications, because what they ultimately do is they curb your appetite, and they do so by literally, again, I'm not getting into the chemical reactions within the body. Like, you can Google search that and get the whole chemical processes that happen. But from a practical point of view, it literally makes you almost nauseous and feeling sick. Like, if you've ever been sick before, you sometimes like lose your appetite. That's kind of what it feels like here. Like, you just like, food is appalling. It's disgusting. Like, I don't even want to eat. It's kind of that kind of sensation. So because you're turned off from food, or you start eating it and it's making your stomach sick and nauseous and stuff, like, it limits the amount of food you're eating, and people create this massive calorie deficit because they just don't want to eat. Now, what happens when you just don't eat? Sure, you're in a calorie deficit. Sure, the weight's going to fall off. But what's also happening, not only are you starving body fat, you're starving your lean muscle tissue, because lean muscle tissue needs the protein and the nutrients and the enzymes and those essential fatty acids and amino acids and all the, the vitamins and the minerals and all the good stuff that you get from food. If you're not providing that and you're just starving yourself, then yeah, you're losing weight, but you're losing fat mass and lean mass. And when you actually look at the body composition changes of people who lose dramatic amounts of weight with these weight loss drugs, yeah, they lose a ton of weight, but a lot of that weight is lean mass. So then if they go off that drug and go back to their normal eating, now they have a suppressed metabolism because they've lost all that weight. They have less muscle, so they're less metabolically active. If they go back to eating the way they were before, they're going to pile on all that weight again with less muscle. So they'll actually get fatter and be of a worse body composition. So it's ultimately it's not a win in the greater scheme of things. Now, with that being said, are there ways to work around it? Yes, there are. If somebody's very meticulous with their nutrition and supplementation, you can provide, the essential nutrients that you need, especially in the form of supplementation. It's possible to make it better, but I'm still not a huge advocate or recommended. But with that being said, there's always extreme cases. Like for the average person, like for me, for example, I would never use something like this, these medications. I would never. And for most of my coaching students who are going through the Muscle After 40 program, I would never recommend it either, because these guys are able to manage their training and their nutrition through habit and lifestyle, and having the support of our community and the teachings and our system that we have in place. They're able to manage it that way and nourish their body, not starve it. But with that being said, there's always exceptions. I mean, we see these people sometimes who are like, what's the TV show, My 600-Pound Life, and you're seeing people who are extremely overweight, like 600 plus pounds overweight. In those situations, maybe there's a time and a place for it, right? I mean, we can't paint everybody with the same brush and say, no, these medications have no place. In extreme situations like that, maybe it's required. But for the average person, and I'm assuming like the majority of people who are going to the gym, exercising, eating healthy, but you just got a few extra pounds, no, we can optimize your diet and training to lose those few extra pounds. If someone's morbidly obese and has been struggling with that for years or their whole life, maybe, aggressive measures like that are required, but I would approach with caution, right? That's what I'll say. Right? It's certainly not a decision to take lightly. It's not something, oh, I think I'm just going to pop this and give it a go. Like, I'd certainly weigh out the pros and cons and all other options before just jumping into medicating yourself with that. Let's see what else we got there. John is joining. Say, I hope your hand heals fast. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. And it is. It's literally getting better day by day. It's for anybody who's considering carpal tunnel release surgery. I think I pronounced it right. Carpal tunnel syndrome release surgery. That's anyone who's considering it. My feedback and results so far, I mean, it's been really good. I have to say, it's not a major surgery. There hasn't been a lot of pain or discomfort, and knock on wood, no tingling or sensations in the hand that was operated on, but I still get the pins and needles in my other hand. So once this one is fully healed, in a few months' time, I'm going to get my right hand done as well. But I want to make sure that, I always have one good hand. I don't want to be two hands laid up. But once the left one is fully healed and back to full strength, I'm going to definitely look into getting the other one done. Because I even noticed it today. I was doing some cardio at the gym. I was using the rowing machine, and I can use the cardio rowing machine because it's pulling. So I cut my fingers around the handle and I can pull with no problem. But it's the press where I'm putting weight against that incision. That's what hurts. So pulling is not an issue. I can do that, but I can't press. So I was doing the cardio row, the Concept 2 rower. And after my cardio session, I just did 10 minutes as a warm-up before my workout. No tingling or carpal tunnel pain, whatever, in my left hand, the one that was operated on. But my right hand was going numb. I was getting the pins and needles, tingly sensation. So, I've gotten instant relief from the carpal tunnel release. So anybody who's considering it, I wish I had got it done earlier. Put it that way. If I had my time back, I would have gotten this done a lot earlier. All right, what else we got there? Let's see who else is joining. We have Denny is joining in. Denny D. Today I did tricep extensions with dumbbells on a 25-degree angle bench. Oh my God, what a pump. Good for you. I'm just curious, tricep extensions, was that like an incline or a decline? I mean, obviously you can do them either way, but one exercise that I found in the past that I really liked was decline bench tricep extensions, or decline bench skull crushers, with the easy curl bar. I used to do it that way. And I found doing it on the decline bench actually gave a better stretch in the triceps and placed less strain on the elbow joint. And again, I've made a video about this years ago up on the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel. But when you're in that decline position, it allows you to get a full stretch through the long head of the tricep, and it found it's actually easier on the elbows, right? So it's one you might want to consider. And if you're looking for it, you can just do a search. Just go to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel and type in Lee Hayward tricep extension or something. It'll probably pop up and you'll see a demo of that one. But good for you. Appreciate you for sharing that. We have Mike is joining. Hi, Lee. I've been doing an hour elliptical, 100% effort, sustaining 180 heartbeats per minute while I burn off muscle doing 1 hour high intensity elliptical sessions on my non weight training days. All right, first off, whoa, if you're literally sustaining 180 beats per minute, that's intense. Now, with that being said, I know everybody has natural fluctuating heart rates. Like some people, their heart rate is just naturally higher than others. Some people, their heart rate is naturally lower than others. I'm kind of on the low end. Like for me, 180 beats per minute is like that's red line max effort exhaustion. Like that, if for the effort that I would sustain for long term, it would be way lower than that. Right. I track my heart rate when I do cardio, and yeah, I'm definitely 180 is like that's my red line. I had to peak. First off, I respect you for doing that, but if your main goal is fat loss, we want to moderate the cardio. Like simply just going as hard as you can, as often as you can. Yeah, it works initially, but you need to cycle it because you can overtrain and burn yourself out with cardio as well. And the common theme these days in the endurance world is the idea of polarized training and incorporating a lot more lower intensity cardio to build up a bigger base and a bigger foundation without stressing your body out, and then doing fewer high intensity sessions. Now, you still do them, you still want to incorporate those high intensity sessions to really build a VO2 max and that peak cardiovascular output, but that's not something you're going to do as a day-to-day sustainable thing, right? Your day-to-day sustainable thing is more the low intensity, what they refer to as like zone 2 cardio. And to put things in perspective of what the different zones are, zone 1 is just gentle movement, but you're not really straining yourself, like a stroll on the beach, or pushing your shopping cart through the supermarket, getting your groceries. Like you're moving, but it's not exhausting. It's easy, like it's effortless. Like your heart rate is barely above resting heart rate. It's yes, you're moving, but you're not straining yourself. Zone 2 is okay, you're moving with a purpose. It's a brisk walk, or it's a very easy jog, or it's, something where you're working and you can tell that you're working, your breathing is elevated, but you can sustain it for hours if you had to, right? That's what's referred to as zone 2. That's the sweet spot for fat burning because it's hard enough that you're getting your body working a little bit, but it's low enough intensity that you can sustain it and not break down your body or overtrain. So that's the sweet spot where a lot of people really build that base foundation, is in zone 2. Once you start getting beyond that, then depending on the model you use, there's different levels of intensity right up until a max out sprint, which you can only sustain for the matter of seconds before you're gasping for air and slowing down. So those are the three models. Like you have zone 1 is just easy movement. Zone 2 is movement with a purpose. And then zone 3 onwards to different levels, you're basically pushing yourself. And obviously, if what you're talking about there, this high intensity cardio, you're well into your zone 3 and beyond, pushing yourself. That's great from building up your VO2 max, but I'd be cautious on that because it's very easy to overtrain and burn yourself out with that. I mean, I don't know how long you've been doing that for or how long you plan on doing that for, but I'm just speaking from personal experience. That would not be sustainable for long. You're eventually going to reach the threshold where you're just going to start to feel burnt out. Now, as far as the muscle loss thing, cardio doesn't cause you to lose muscle. What causes you to lose muscle is not fueling properly. So if you're in a calorie deficit or you're not eating enough protein and you're not feeding the muscle, that's what's going to cause you to lose muscle, not necessarily the cardio. And to put things in perspective, virtually all top level bodybuilders, or most of them anyway, I mean, I'm sure there's some exceptions, but most top level bodybuilders all do cardio as part of their program these days. It's very rare to see bodybuilders who don't do any cardio. Most of them do. Like some of the guys that we mentioned earlier, like Ronnie Coleman, when he was getting ready for the Olympia, he would do cardio, right? And other guys like Dorian Yates did cardio, like all Jay Cutler, all the top bodybuilders of the day did cardio, and the guys are massive. They're the mass monsters, and they still do cardio. So doing cardio is not going to cause you to lose muscle. It's not nourishing your body is what's going to cause you to lose muscle, right? So you make sure that you're getting adequate protein, a minimum of a gram of protein per pound of lean mass per day. That's the minimum. If you go more than that, that's fine. But that's the big one, right? When I see people losing muscle, it's usually because subpar nutrition. That's the biggest culprit right there. Subpar nutrition, meaning you're not eating enough protein to sustain your lean mass, or you're doing some crazy cutting diets, like you're going prolonged periods of time with no food, like prolonged fasting. That's a recipe for losing muscle. Um, Obviously, not weight training is another thing. I mean, if you just did the cardio with no weight training, yeah, you'll risk losing some muscle that way, or at least not building muscle. So the cardio, that's not going to hinder your progress. The only thing I would be cautious of, again, is the overtraining side of things. So I would probably cycle that, maybe do 3 to 4 low intense, probably if you're doing cardio every single day, 5 low intensity days and maybe 2 high intensity days, to kind of put things into perspective. That would be a good benchmark to shoot for, right? And ideally do that on your separate from your weight training workouts, especially the high intensity ones. But again, if you want to discuss this in more detail, feel free to reach out to me. I know there's we could talk back and forth through Messenger, or even schedule in a coaching call and then really break this down in more detail. It's kind of hard to give specifics on just a single question there. Oh, he's got a bit more information. Okay, hang on. He says, I do upper lower body splits 4 days a week, weights three days of high. Okay, so this is 3 days of high intensity cardio. I would probably do, at the very least, alternate 1 day of high intensity cardio, 1 day of low intensity, or if you're doing 3, maybe 2 low intensity and 1 high intensity. Because again, you're going to burn yourself out. Like, you only have so much recovery ability. It's not like we have 100% recovery for weight training. We have 100% recovery for cardio, and we have 100% recovery for sports and activities or whatever. You have 100% total. How are you divvying that up? And if you try to go all out with your weight training and then all out with your cardio, and you're going to burn the candle at both ends and burn yourself out. So just want to be cautious of that and listen to your body. That's all I mean, push yourself, absolutely, but listen to your body. Right? If you start to feel the effects of overtraining, which you probably will if you're pushing it that hard, it's okay to scale it back. Right? Don't cut it out. Just scale back the intensity. Right? Consistency over intensity. That's what we want to focus on. Let's see what else we got there. We have the last fake natty joining us. Welcome to the chat. Let's see. Mark is saying, what is the safest way to manage water retention from congestive heart failure while maintaining strength and flexibility? All right. Well, that's something I would honestly recommend talking to your doctor or healthcare professional about, because I mean, if somebody had heart failure, that's a serious issue. That's something I would not try and diagnose serious heart issues through YouTube comments. All right. Now, all right. So I'm just saying it like it is. I would recommend that you discuss that with your family doctor or whoever, to get a more customized and practical approach for you and your situation there on that one, because that's a serious issue for sure. I mean, as far as the water retention, I mean, it may need medication. I mean, obviously you could modify your eating habits. That's one thing for sure, but that's something you really need to discuss that with your doctor, right? Because you may be on medication already for the heart issues, and you don't want to have anything that would be conflicting with that. But that's beyond, that's next level healthcare stuff. And I'm not trying to be rude or ignorant. I'm just being honest. Like, that's beyond my level of expertise dealing with, heart issues. What else we got there? Sean is joining in. Welcome, Sean. Who else we got there? We have Jay is joining us. What is the most common muscle in lower back that gets injured during squats? I have pain and stiffness, can't stand up straight. I'm unable to locate the pain. It's probably a nerve impingement or something like that. I mean, it could be muscle, but very often people will impinge nerves in their back, and that will cause a lot of pain, especially if you can't pinpoint the muscle, but you're just getting a lot of pain and your stiffness and it hurts to straighten up, there's probably some sort of nerve impingement, and that's quite common. I've had similar issues myself over the years where during certain movements or whatever, you just like, oh geez, like I just kink something in my back. That's what it feels like. And very often you impinge a nerve, and that's what's probably causing it. But if this is something that's been going on for a while, I mean, you're unable to stand up, I would highly recommend you get it checked out. Now, if it's just okay, it's injuries are hard to diagnose here, but I'm just going to kind of give you like the general overview of how I would go about dealing with injuries. If I did a heavy squat workout and afterwards like, oh, I hurt my back or I strained my back, I would probably just take it easy for a couple days. And if it starts to ease up on its own within a couple days and there's no serious signs of injury, like there's no deformation or discoloration or signs of a muscle tear or anything like that, it's just really sore and stiff, I would probably just rest up and let it heal on its own. Probably consider some heat and ice and something like that, to kind of ease up the pain. Maybe even like an over-the-counter pain medication like Tylenol or ibuprofen or something, just to kind of take the edge off it. But a lot of times these nuisance injuries, these aches, pains, and strains that you get in the gym, more often than not, they will heal up on their own. Now, if it's more serious, where the point where, okay, this is actually getting worse, it's not getting better. Like I took a couple days off now and I don't feel any relief. If anything, it's getting worse. Then I would go and check it out, get it checked out by a healthcare professional, right? Go to your doctor, go to a chiropractor, go get somebody to check this out for you, right? Because you may have injured it. You may have like pulled or strained or tore a muscle, who knows, right? But you need to get that checked out if it continues to get worse. So that's how I would go about it, right? I mean, again, to answer your question, what muscle did you injure? It might not have even been a muscle. It might have been a nerve impingement. But if this gets worse, definitely get it checked out. Right. Again, hopefully that helps. Okay, another follow-up there. He says, it feels like it's being my hip bones. Being my hip bones. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Right. Okay. Another follow-up question or a follow-up response here. If I press on my spinal erector mid-back, the pain seems to diminish in distally. If you're pushing on points and the pain seems to go away, it's probably nerves, right? That's, again, what I was talking about. It might be a nerve impingement or something like that. So you may be, decompressing or easing up pressure depending on where you press on different parts of your body. So again, fingers crossed, this is going to be something that heals up on its own within the matter of a few days. Now, when I say that, like, it starts to improve within a few days. I'm not saying you're going to be 100% in a few days. You may be a few weeks or maybe even a month or more before you're back to normal, but you should start to see some progression in terms of ease of pain and ease of discomfort. And then when you go back to training again, obviously don't do anything that's going to load your spine and load your back. So for leg exercises, just stick to easy things like maybe leg extensions and leg curls and simple stuff like that. Even with your back exercises, like I wouldn't be doing any heavy deadlifts or overhead presses. Stick to machines, stick to isolation exercises, light movements that are not going to heavily load your spine, and work around that to the best of your ability. And then when you do feel your back is getting back to the point where, okay, I think I can actually start to go back to squats or deadlifts or whatever, start back with warm-up weights. Like your first workout back, squat the barbell, right? It's like literally that's it. Just go through the motions with the empty barbell. If that feels good, okay, for your next workout, let's add a little bit of weight to the barbell and just go through the motions for several progressively heavier workouts and gradually build your way back up to your top weight again. Because a common issue for a lot of folks, especially when it comes to how injuries truly happen, is they might get a minor ache or pain or strain. Like, I tweaked my chest doing bench presses, and they'll take a few days off or maybe even a couple weeks off from bench pressing or whatever. And then once it starts to feel a bit good again, they say, okay, I'm going to go back to the gym and train the bench press again. But because I haven't trained it in a couple weeks, they feel like I'm behind the 8 ball here. Like I got to catch up. So then they go in there and start training like a madman to think that I'm going to pick up where I left off and train hard to try and regain those lost gains that I happened over the last couple weeks. And then in that, when they're bouncing back, that's when they take a minor little injury that was just a little minor tweak and then end up turning into a major injury. Like that's when they, okay, full on pec tear or blown out rotator cuff, or in your case, you pop a disc in your back or screw something up big time. Like the most dangerous point of the whole injury rehab process is when you're coming back to the gym after that injury, because you have to pace yourself. Like hold back those reins, Tiger. You don't want to go in there and train balls to the wall with gusto. Like just baby weights and inch your way back gradually, workout by workout, and build it up. And if you do it that way, I mean, I know it feels painfully slow and everything else, and we're all impatient. I totally get it. But if you do it that way, your risk of injury or re-injury and making it worse is very low, and the chances of you coming back to full mobility are very high. Whereas if you're impatient, it's actually going to set things back and make it a lot worse. Right? Like that's what I've been doing. Like I mentioned, I have a carpal tunnel surgery. Like I'm going through the motion with baby weights. Like when I started off, I was in the gym curling 3-pound dumbbells because that's all my hand could tolerate. Like that, I could actually feel the strain and the stress of my hand curling a 3-pound dumbbell. So, okay, I work with threes. Next day or next week, or I said it was a couple days later, then I worked up to the 5-pound dumbbells. Ooh, I'm making progress. Right. So I did that for a while, and then and then I was up to the 10s, and then I'm up to the 12s, and then to the 15s, and now I'm up to 20s, right? All the way up to 20s. Now, whilst my max effort dumbbell curls back in the day, I mean, it was a lot heavier than that, put it that way. But I don't have an ego, or I'm not trying to, like, I don't give a shit if somebody sees me curling the 3-pound dumbbells. Right? Most people don't even notice it anyway because they're too busy scrolling on their phone or too worried about what people are thinking of them to even worry about what anybody else is doing. So just want to give you that heads up when you're going back to the gym again after you start feeling good enough to do the squats and the back exercises again. Give yourself permission to start off ridiculously light and just build it up slowly and gradually. And if you do it that way, you're going to get back to normal sooner and less risk of taking that minor injury and turning it into a major one, which is what a lot of people end up doing. All righty, what else we got there? We have Johnson Life. If I can't outwork a bad diet, working out after overeating is a waste of time. Not necessarily. What are you trying to work out for? Like, because there's more to working out than just burning calories and losing fat. Right? You can work out to build muscle. You can work out to improve your strength, your health, your athletic performance, improve bone density. I mean, there's so many things that happen in a workout than just burning calories or creating a calorie deficit, right? In fact, I would much rather work out and build muscle, improve strength, improve athletic performance, increase my flexibility and mobility and my stamina and all that stuff. Even if it didn't burn fat, like all those other benefits still make it worthwhile and very valuable to work out. So like we have to think outside this little bubble of exercise is just for fat loss. That's it. No, exercise is so much more than fat loss. Right. So, I mean, what's the point, or if it's a waste of time? Absolutely not. Like, is being strong and healthy and energetic and all this a waste of time? Right. Like, if you ever look at someone like who's neglected their health and fitness and has lost muscle, like you look at a senior citizen who's, aged and they're weak and they've lost their muscle, they've experienced sarcopenia, and now they can't even carry their own groceries. They struggle to climb a flight of stairs, and their body is just wasting away. That's like that's the point of working out. You want to build your body stronger, and like it's not just about burning calories, it's about building the body stronger, and preventing that from happening, or at least prolonging it for as long as possible. So there's a big point to working out. Even if you have a bad diet, I would still rather see somebody work out. And another thing I want to point out as well, by working out consistently and having that as a regular part of your lifestyle, it will indirectly increase your motivation to want to eat better. Whereas the opposite is rarely true. Like simply eating better doesn't usually give you the motivation to want to join the gym. But working out will very often increase your motivation to want to eat better, because you're going to say to yourself, I'm putting all this effort into the gym. I'm putting all this effort into working out and stimulating muscle growth and everything else. What if I started to actually nourish myself properly? So now I'm fueling those workouts. And I start feeling stronger. I start experiencing better recovery and even better results in the gym. The workouts will provide motivation to want to fuel those workouts better. And we can use another analogy here as well. Like, imagine you have a high performance sports car, right? Whatever your favorite sports car is, right? High performance car. Are you going to put cheap, low octane gas into that high performance sports car? Probably not. Like, you want to put supreme premium gas into that car to get maximum performance. Whereas if you have an old clunker, an old jalopy, are you going to put premium gas in that? No. Like, what the hell am I going to do that for? It's only a shitbox car. Why do I want to put premium gas in it? So, like, look at it that way. Like, if you you have the high performance, you have the workout, that motivates you to want to fuel that workout. If you just, I say, I'm going to eat clean, is that going to motivate you to want to work out? Probably not. So when somebody asks, like, I get this all the time, people say, what's more important, diet or exercise? I always say, start with the exercise. Start with that, because that's going to motivate you to want to follow it up with the diet afterwards. All right, who else we got joining in? We have Thomas has got a question. Says, I'm from Dublin, Ireland. I like your YouTube channel. When you were a kid, who was your favorite wrestlers? Mine was the Ultimate Warrior. He also had a great YouTube channel. Favorite wrestlers. I liked Hulk Hogan, and I wasn't a huge wrestling fan. Now, with that being said, I did watch wrestling, indirectly, because back in the day, back in the 80s, I'm an 80s kid. Like, I was born in the late 70s, and my whole childhood throughout the 80s, the wrestling and stuff like that. You were exposed to stuff because there was only so many channels on TV, and if you turned on the TV, you're bound to see the WWF back then. It wasn't WWE. So I have to say Hulk Hogan was probably my favorite wrestler, but then who was the other ones, like Jake the Snake and Macho Man, and who was Randy Savage and all those guys, Andre the Giant. Hulk Hogan freaking picked up Andre the Giant and body slammed him. So dude, that's impressive. Right? That was a world-class feat of strength, if there ever was one. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say the Hulk Hogan. I just want to share a little side story too. One time we were on vacation down in Florida, and we were flying back, and we had to go from Tampa, Florida to Toronto to get our connecting flight back home to Newfoundland. And Hulk Hogan was on that flight from Tampa to Toronto. And that was the first time I seen him in person. And he was freaking huge, man. Like, you don't realize how big some of these guys are. Like, he's tall and still huge, right? Pretty damn cool. Anyway, had a little fanboy moment there. What else we got? Who else is joining in? I lost my spot there in the chat. Okay, we're talking about the wrestlers there with Thomas. Gotcha. Okay, got that. Mike has got a question. Back in the late 90s, I knocked over your protein shaker at New World Fitness walking past your bench. You gave me a mean look, and I was not happy. I never had the chance to apologize. Sorry. I'm assuming that's probably a real situation. I have no idea. I knocked over your protein. I did do a few workouts at New World. I wasn't a regular at New World Fitness, but I did work out there a few times. Like, I used to buy the punch card and go in there occasionally. I actually liked New World. New World Fitness, I know, for those of you who don't know, it was a gym here in town, and they had a lot of old school equipment, and like the old chrome machines from back in the day, like real old school stuff. And I love that old equipment. Like, I'm a huge fan of old machines, because some of the old stuff, even though it was simple and crude, it was just damn good equipment, right? And some of the stuff that they had at New World, I got to say, I really did like it. But anyway, I'm sure that's all Protein. We're not going to cry over spilled protein shakes. Put it that way, Mike. No sense of crying over a spilled protein shake. Right? I mean, just put that in perspective. If I knocked over your protein shake today or somebody else did, I bet you wouldn't be happy either. Right? Nobody would be happy if they spilled a protein shake, but we're not going to hold a grudge from back in 25 or plus years ago, or however long ago this was. All right. Thanks for the info from Jay. You're welcome, my friend. Hopefully you ease the pain eases up in your back and you're back to training sooner than later. But just take that stuff into consideration as you're going through your recovery rehab process. We have Malik joining in from the Great Lakes in Illinois. Awesome. Glad to have you joining us. We have Robert, George the Animal. All right. George the Animal Steel. Is that a wrestler? I don't know. I'm not sure who George the Animal is. New World was the best. Yeah, I mean, there were some good gyms around, right? New World was an awesome gym for sure. I did a lot of training at Global Gym back in the day. That was kind of a hot spot for a lot of the workouts in the Newfoundland area, especially back in the early 2000s. That was like a hot spot for bodybuilders back in the day. But nowadays, I find it's kind of like there's so many gyms and it's spread out more. But I'm training at Omega Health and Fitness in Paradise right now, and I gotta say I like it. It's got a great variety of equipment, and I find that atmosphere is geared towards more of a serious workout enthusiast. And the thing I like about it is it's got lots of power racks, lots of free weights, lots of benches, like all the key stuff that you want for a good workout, plus lots of machines. And the thing I like about it is they got multiple variations. So there's several different leg presses, there's several different pull downs, there's several power racks, several benches, and all the key stuff, lots of different cable pulley setups, and lots of T-bar rows, and all the core stuff that you need. They not only have one of them, they've got multiple variations of them. So it's very rare that anybody's ever waiting on equipment, right? Like maybe, okay, the leg press that I want to use is occupied, but I can go use another leg press variation and still get a killer workout. So I like that. All right, well, we're getting close to the top of the hour here now, so I'm going to get ready and clue this up very shortly here. But in the meantime, I just want to give you a quick reminder before we do clue it up. If you haven't already done so, make sure to check out the Lean Body Re-comp Masterclass that we did on Wednesday night. I know a lot of you probably tuned in and caught it, but I had several people message me and say, due to time zone or schedule conflicts, they weren't able to make the live masterclass, but I was able to record and get the replay. So if you would like to check that out and get a full-on action plan that you can follow now over the holidays to minimize fat gain leading up until Christmas and to still make progress while enjoying those holiday meals, we outlined a full step-by-step action plan for you in that masterclass, and also outlined a bigger picture perspective of how you can reach your fitness and fat loss goals moving forward in 2025. So if you haven't checked it out already, down in the description, there's a link to that masterclass, and you can go check that out. And also want to let you know that we have our Black Friday special for the Muscle After 40 coaching program is in full effect. So if you're interested in coming on board and getting some awesome Black Friday deals, feel free to reach out to me. We can have a chat and discuss all the details, but I'll just let you know this opportunity we have set up now, no reasonable offer is going to be refused. Like if you're committed to making your fitness goals a reality and you would like some help with it, then reach out to me. We can make it work. And the reason why I say that is because when it comes to helping people, like I'm not just after another coaching student for the sake of another student. I'm out there to create those before and after success stories. That's what really inspires me. Because when I'm going through the coaching program with the guys now, when I see those updates and I see those life-changing transformations, and I mean, you've seen several of them on the podcast and people I featured on my website. It's such an amazing feeling to know that, okay, I was a part of that transformation and helped this person turn their life around. And then not only that, they're then able to inspire their friends and family, spread the message, throughout their community, and then inspire other people and just create that win-win situation all around. So that's what this is all about. It's not just taking on another student for the sake of another student. It's about creating those life-changing before and after transformations. So if you'd like some help with that, feel free to reach out to me. and we can get you set up on an action plan that's right for you. All righty, let's see. Before we clue it up here. Mark saying, Lee Hayward is a hell of a man, a top-notch muscle building coach. Listen to him. He's a savage. I appreciate that, Mark. Thanks for chiming in. Awesome. I know Mark's been a long-time follower, and we still keep in touch over on Facebook, and that's actually where he's tuning in from now. Awesome. Good stuff. Let's see. Another question there. Have you stayed in contact with Elliot Hulse over the years? I have not. The last time I spoke to Elliot was back in 2020, before the pandemic hit. We actually made a YouTube video together the last time we spoke, and that's up on YouTube, but it was back in 2020. But I have not stayed in touch with him since, even though I do see his videos popping up in my feed from time to time. I know he's back active on YouTube. Like, Elliot goes through phases where, like, he's really active and then, like, he kind of disappears, and then he's really active and he disappears. So he's back at it again, and kudos to him, right? But I gotta say, I respect him. He's been through a varying journey in his whole fitness life journey, if you will, but I respect his openness and transparency and just sharing what's going on. He's an interesting character for sure, and has a lot of value to share. Larry's joining in saying, how are you? I remember the first video I seen of you were doing the German volume training in the gym about 12 years ago. Yeah, that was kind of like in the middle of the journey, I guess, 12 years ago. But yeah, I think I remember that video you're referring to. If I'm not mistaken, it was probably shot at Global Gym. That's where I probably did that video too. But yeah, I mean, I started this YouTube channel back when YouTube started in 2006. I uploaded my first videos, and it went through its ups and downs. Like, there's so much noise in the fitness industry now. Like, at one time, this channel was way bigger, right? And if you go back into my history, I mean, you'll see we had several videos that went over 1 million views and went viral and all that. Nowadays, like, I'm lucky to get 1,000 views per video. So the reach is not the same as it used to be back in the day. Like, in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, that range, like, that was kind of like my heyday on YouTube. But now there's so many, there's so much noise and other fitness influencers now. It's very easy to get lost in the crowd. But that really doesn't bother me. I mean, sure, it'd be nice to have more traffic and more, the reach that I used to have back in the day. But I love doing this for what it is, right? So, I mean, hey, if I get 1,000 views per video or less, that doesn't bother me. As long as the people who are viewing are getting value, that's cool with me, right? I'd rather have a big impact on a smaller number of people than a subpar impact on a lot of people. All right, we're going to clue it up, guys. Again, thanks so much for chiming in. Thanks so much for sharing your feedback and everything else. I mean, I love doing these video chats. I wouldn't do them if I didn't. And hopefully you got some value from it as well. So if you did, hey, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. And again, check out that Lean Body Re-comp Masterclass. Again, the replay is posted up there, and I'm going to have it up there now over the weekend. So make sure to check that out. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to discuss, feel free to reach out to me through email or through Facebook or Instagram. Either one is fine. I'm active on those platforms, and we'll keep that conversation going. Have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Same time, same place. Over and out.